Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining your Financial Fun Friday team. It is Friday, so we're going to go ahead and get started with Financial Fun Friday. Good morning. You are welcome here to Financial Fun Friday. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Financial Fun Friday. I am your co-host, Darlene Jenkins, and my other co-host,
Dr. Rita B. Rowland.
Yes, she does. Dr. Rita B. Rowland. And we are being brought to you courtesy of ABS Retirement Solutions, where we're always bringing you what's new and, more importantly, what's next in the financial services industry. So thank you so much for joining us today. Now, for those of you that are joining us for the very first time for Financial Fun Friday, this is a webinar that we do at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the first and third Friday each and every month. And guess what? We're also broadcasting live simultaneously on Facebook Live. Hey, Facebook, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And what we do during this broadcast is we just pull back the curtain so that you can get an in-depth understanding of not only your employer benefits, but we also give you some of the best retirement preparation options, financial tips, and more importantly, strategies to help you overcome any obstacles that you may be facing or problems you feel you may be facing as you head to retirement. You can always join us right here on the broadcast by going to our webpage, Your AB Solutions, Inc., and clicking to join Financial Fun Friday. Or if you're on Facebook, you can also follow us and like us there at Your AB Solutions. And of course, you can find all of our old episodes, not only on our company page on our website, but also over on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Thank you for watching this episode. Please ring the bell, subscribe, and leave a comment down in the section. So this is where we like to do a what, Rita? Check-in, because we know you all watch us from all over the country and so in the world. So check in right now, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments on Facebook, and let us know where you are tuning in from. Rita, do we have anything?
Only thing so far I have is Alabama. So they're a little shy. They're a little shy this morning. We know we got, I think, Fort Washington. We got DC. So, Of course, we got Upper Marlboro. So maybe they'll come back and not be so shy. But yes, that's what we got going on this morning, Darlene.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into, because we're talking to debt ceiling crisis today, and how does this apply to you? Because we hear it on the news and it's like, oh, that's Congress, the president, one side wants one thing, the other side wants something else. And they're battling right now over, are we going to pay our bills or are we not going to pay our bills? But paying our bills means raising the debt, meaning we're going into more debt to pay for the things we spent last year. That's where they are. How are we going to do it? But before we get into this hot topic, because this is a hot button topic, right, Rita? I just want everyone to know that the information that we're going to be sharing is generic in nature. We're not getting into anything specific. And the reason we can't tailor this presentation and be more specific about your particular situation is because we don't know it yet. And so, but what we can do is as we go through this information, like I said, it's going to be generic in approach. If we say something or you want to know more about how we can help you with a particular subject matter area, please give us a call at 301-577-6340, and we will gladly customize any of this information that we're sharing where it will be specifically for you and your family and with your retirement numbers. So thank you so much for understanding, and please apply the information we're sharing where you feel it fits your situation best. So again, Rita, this debt ceiling crisis. Everyone is talking about it. You want to just jump on in, or do you have
I think one of the things I would like to say is for all of us, like not just me, you, just the listeners as you come about that, I'm always saying that there's some things you can't change and there's some things that you can change. And I think sometimes we live in this place when it doesn't pertain to us that we don't think is important or we're not really caring. But when these crises happen, you have to care because it does happen to you, because if it happens to your children, if it happens to your neighbor, because what could possibly happen if this issue isn't resolved, Darlene? If, as we'll talk about it, if it impacts your neighbor, it does impact you. And I think the thing that for me that hits so much when I think about this, when they have so much debt, and I think about what Ronald Reagan said about taxes. He said that the problem is not that the people are taxed too little. The problem is that the government spends too much. And that statement hit so much to me. And, we talk about it because I just remember my mom always saying at the end of this, the fiscal year, she's out buying new computers, new paper, new desks, rearranging the office. They're spending money so they look like they need the money so they can get the money next year. So think about all the years, all the government agencies, how much money was spent on stuff that they didn't need just so that they can keep the money in the budget. Is this debt, if a third of it, what's the number of unwanted things? And now the consequence to this is not impacting a few people. It could impact our military, our seniors. Why? Because we can't control our spending. And that's a little scary. And it's almost like they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you think about children and parents. The government spends too much, we spend too much. So there's a ripple effect for us to really just become conscious. I think we live in this robotic world. We just go about and we're not really cognizant. We're not really thinking. We're not really attuned to what's truly happening. So I think as we share today, it'll make people understand that if this debt ceiling shutdown happen, is a shutdown, is a showdown, is a slam down, it's people going down. And I think that's the part that I think it's I think that we pray that it does not happen, right? The whole thing is that
absolutely,
but we want to be prepared if it's due.
exactly. And Rita, in that vein, because here on Financial Fun Friday, we are always giving you the heads up. Hey, this is coming. This could possibly happen. So what we decided to do today is don't take it from us. Take it from Good Morning America. This is all over most of the news channels. Everyone is talking about it. Why? Because it's just that important. So on Good Morning America, I think it was either yesterday or Wednesday, I'm not sure, but either way, they did a big story on what could happen with the debt ceiling. They're calling it catastrophic if it isn't handled. And so Rachel Scott, one of the correspondents with Good Morning America that you see pictured here, did this story on the debt ceiling showdown. And so one of the things that she brought up is that, hey, look, Janet Yellen, she is the Secretary of the Treasury. She is saying that things are going to happen starting June 1st. Rita and I had went over this back in either March or April, and had said then that if they didn't get something done by April, they would start going into what's called using not catastrophic measures, but where they start cutting back on things to make the money last. And for those of you in the government, the TSP and how they're crediting interest is one of those things. If you go back and watch the whole broadcast, you'll see that there. So Janet Yellen has been sounding the alarm. Look, we need to do something. We need to do something because she knows the money is going to run out June the 1st. The extenuating measures, or something that is called, has been going on since March, April. And she said, hey, come June 1st, that's a hard deadline. We will default starting June 1st. So what Rachel was saying and what Rita just mentioned here, if this debt ceiling crisis is not resolved, then as Rita just mentioned, what's going to happen? The military, the people keeping us safe, guarding our borders, fighting abroad so we can have our freedoms, they may not get paid. They may not get paid. Rita, what did you say? The seniors?
Yeah, this is the seniors. Can you imagine you work 35, 40 years to get your Social Security check? And a lot of people don't have a pension. A lot of people, their only income is their Social Security payment. And so you imagine people not getting paid, seniors not being able to pay for their prescription, have food to eat, because many of them are not living above means. They're living below means because they don't even have enough. So to take away what they have, and imagine you fighting overseas and your family back home don't have money because you're a troop. Like, how much motivation do you have to continue fighting for a country that's not even fighting for your livelihood? And so I think, and the sad part about this, Darlene, what's happening is that we have to go, it has to get bad really before it gets better. But the people that's impacted are the ones that shouldn't be, it's like, because they're part of the debt. And so I think when we begin to understand how all of this work, like our payments come from the government, if the government shuts down, any payments that come from the government is in jeopardy. At the end of the year, the government employees, some of them don't get paid if they haven't balanced the budget. So I think sometimes we believe we live in this bubble that we're so safe. But in all honesty, if our money is coming from there, are we truly safe?
Right. And Rita, to further piggyback on that, if this ceiling is not, the debt crisis isn't resolved, then they're estimated about 7.8 million people could lose their jobs. That's 7.8 million people. You all gonna know some of them people. And for those that may be saying, oh, we go through this every year, they're going to do it. Remember when they said that about shutting down the government? How many of you remember when the government shut down and we had that shutdown and sequestration? And it didn't just last for 1 week, 1 month.
Yeah, it was a minute.
It was a minute, and people were not getting paid. They were not getting paid. I think it was almost like 2 months. And so what Rachel said during this segment is that if we default for just 1 week, June 1st comes, nothing is done, now the fallout starts happening, we could lose 1.5 million jobs in 1 week. 1 week. Now, unemployment is going to go, because remember, we've been trying to get unemployment back down since the whole pandemic thing, right? And inflation. Now, the unemployment is going to go back up to 5%. That's just with 1 week. How long was the government shut down before? And Rita and I even said back then. And we're going through all of this because we always talk preparation.
And more preparation.
And more preparation.
That many people don't have jobs. Let's just be real about it, because sometimes we just want to be so pretty. If people don't have jobs, people are going to start doing what they need to do to survive for their family. We think crime is up now. Crime going to go higher because people are trying to eat. More things are going to be robbed. Why? Because people don't want to suffer long term. They think we got to do something to feed these babies. We got to do something to keep our lifestyle. Not that it's the right thing. I'm not promoting anything, but we know this is what happened when you put people up against a wall. And so this is really real. And you're going to have to also, for us to have something, whether you got a whole bunch of lot, we're going to have to start getting something to share with your family, your friend, because this 1.5 million, it's going to be a family member. It's going to be a friend. It's going to be a neighbor that's going to be impacted by this. And I think that's the part too, Darlene. When we go through stuff, we got to learn how to not be so self-absorbed because we're not impacted. We are impacted because we're all together. So we're going to have to learn how to, because I think when we come together and work together, it makes the stress from everybody left, because now it's for your thing to go share with someone to make sure they understand it. Unemployment from 3.4% to 7.8%. That's major. And it said the thing that I think was so serious, like it said across all industries. And you think about that during the pandemic was a lot of the hospitality industry, the fast food, those type of things. But here they said this job loss among all industries. So everybody's going to be impacted by this job loss.
Right. And this is where they got that 7.8 million job loss. If the if they're still working on raising the limit, working out a deal, and it goes 2 months, remember 1 week was 1.8 million. 2 months, now we're at 7.8 million jobs lost. And like Rita said, now the industries, it's going to be across all, but the ones that are going to get impacted first and the hardest will again be retail, hospitality, construction, manufacturing. Those type of jobs are going to be hit and hit hard. And as Rita said, it may be your child. We're going to feel it, just like we did during the pandemic. And some of you out there may be saying, oh, they wouldn't let it go that long. Wasn't the government shut down for 2 months, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Because what happens when you're in an argument? Because right now, Congress and the White House is in a heated argument over money. Now, for those of you that are in a relationship or married, you know what it's been like arguing about money. Who wants to give up their position and say, I acquiesce, let's compromise. Compromise now is a dirty word. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying compromise because it's
what is that?
Word.
Yeah.
And once that deadline, Rita, I think is missed, oh, you're the blame. You're the blame. And I'm not going to do this. It's all your fault. So it may take 2 to 3 weeks before they even realize and say, hey, the people are suffering. Let's get down to it. So, oh, yes, I definitely can see how it could go 2 months because it's happened before. And now,
I think that's, darling, excuse me, I'm sorry. I think that's so important to understand because truly, once they go to 1 day, they're already in it. So they'll be, to me, more inclined to just let this thing stretch out because you got to think, I'm not even going to say certain things, but just think about what is the impact for you and remember, we got to go bad before we truly get worse. And because we don't really want to face the fact, the Americans, we don't want to have to suffer, right? We want everything to be roses, but that's not the reality of where we are financially as a country and probably as a world, but we're the strong country, right? We're the one. So we're in a bad place, then they're going to have to do some things to fix it. And this right there is serious. So if they go into this protracted default, they said the stock market could fall 45%. So you got $1 million. You spent your whole 30, 40 years building up your 401ks, your IRAs to $1 million, and you lose 45%. That's okay. Let me just put it in real dollars. That's $450,000 that you just lost. And now taxes going up. Everything is up. So your $1 million just turned to 300,000 and you haven't even been taxed. And you need to look at that. So ask yourself this question. We're not telling you what to do. We're not saying as financial advisors, my question for each of you who are listening, of your pool of money, how much are you willing to lose? 45% of. So if you got $1 million, say, I'll lose 100, I'll lose 40. Well, that's the part that you need to have at risk. The rest of it, you need to secure it. Why? Because this is what they're saying. We did not say that. They said as an impact of what this could have, the fallout could be the market could drop. It said, what's interesting, it didn't say could, darling. It said the stock market will fall, which to me, it's not saying it's possible. It said it will fall. So they're telling you right now, this could happen June 1.
Absolutely, Rita. And because we're already experiencing volatility right now. Now, yesterday was a good day. It's starting off, but one wrong word from one person and the market is skittish. And you may be thinking, oh, well, I'm in the market. You're not the market. You're in the market, but you're not the market. It's the big banks. It's Wall Street. They control the movement of the roller coaster. And so now, if the market is falling, guess what's going to happen to the money supply, Rita? It's going to tighten up. Some of you out here right now who want to be homeowners, you're looking to buy homes. So if the money supply is tightened up, Now what happens is that it's going to cost more to get the money. So what's going to happen? What could potentially happen? Interest rates. They're expecting interest rates to go above 8%. But you know what I find is ironic, not funny, but ironic, is that at one, like we're seeing 8%, 6%, and people are like, oh, clutch the pearls. I don't want to pay that much, because we have been living in an artificial environment where the interest rates were held down. And so for those of you who got them good interest rates, hooray for you, and hold on to them. But 8% mortgage rates was the norm in the
It really
80s
was.
and
80s
90s.
and 90s and part of 2000. They gave
10%. So now we at home up at night clutching our pearls, going to 8%. So those of you who are out there thinking about buying a home, like 8%, now it's going to be potentially more people, even more people coming out the market.
And I think it's so important to understand, if you're in the process of buying a house or having a house built. I had a client who started a house. It took the supply long and the interest rate went up. By the time she closed on her house, her mortgage was $500 more than what she had expected, because it took them another 3 months to build her house. And then the interest rate kept going up. And by the time it was $500 more, and she still was obligated to get this house. So I think if you're planning on buying a house, you got to look in the future. Okay, if they promised me 6%, or if it's 6.5%, but it could take a year, ask yourself, can you afford an increase? If it's 8%, 8.5%, can you still afford that house, so that you can make sure you're making wise decisions? You're not putting down money and down payments that you can't get back, because as the world, the banks are not going to change because you put a down payment on the house. If this is the interest rate, this is what it is. And effective that date, that's what it is. And your mortgage lender, they're not changing it. So I think as you think about buying and purchasing things, think about the future. Don't just think about today. Think about what ifs. We're the what if people. We're your save money people, but we're also the preppers, the planner, the what ifs in life. What if this is, can this still be for me? And I think that's always important to ask yourself.
Right. So we have given you a lot to think about today. So what is going to be right for you? Which way do I go, Rita? What should I do, Darlene? Well, it depends, because everybody is an individual. Raise your hand, reach out to us, 301-577-6340, and let's talk about it. What are your plans? What should I do? We create strategies for you. So as I said, just contact us today so that we can map out a strategy to help you put all of the pieces together so you can do what? Reach your financial destination safely with as much money as you can, because you worked hard for that money, right? And we want to make sure you get to keep it, or most of it, all of it, instead of the Internal Revenue Service, because he ain't my uncle. My uncle named Tyrone. He ain't my uncle. Oh, yeah. So give us a call today, 301-577-6340. Rita, it got real today, didn't it?
Yeah. It did. And you know what? Share this, you guys. So if you watch this today, send it to your friend. Tell your friends and family to go subscribe to either our Facebook page, YouTube, somewhere, and make sure that they watch it, so that you're not trying to take the burden for your whole crew, because you have an understanding. Share this understanding with other people so that more people are aware, the more people that can be prepared. Is not just our job to sound the alarm, is everybody listening, because now you've been told. So share this with other people so that we're not caught off guard. We can't save everything. We can't protect everything, but at least we got an awareness of what could happen and begin to put things, because you know what? It is May the 19th. They talking about 11 days from now, this could happen. We don't have much time to prepare. Get your food, get your water. All of this could be an impact for everything. You got to be prepared. Guess what? I always say it's better to be prepared and not need than to need and not be prepared.
Not be prepared. So we thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
Again, our information is on the screen. Reach out to your Financial Fun Friday team, 301-577-6340. Let us help craft a strategy for you so you can sleep well at night. That's what we do. We help you go to bed with a clear conscience concerning your money. So please come back here, join us. As I said, we're here on the first and third Friday. And guess what? The first Friday in June is June 2nd, the day after the deadline. So let's talk about it. Now, we are both hoping that this is resolved because guess what? We are the y'all that's going to be impacted as well.
Exactly.
We're not floating above in some clouds. We're going to be impacted as well. So we thank you for your time. We hope you have a wonderful weekend and make it great on purpose. So come back in 2 weeks and join us on June 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when you come, bring one. Share this out on your Facebook pages, across all social media. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Leave a comment on Facebook, and we will look forward to seeing you next time on the broadcast. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.